Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Hustle and Hoops podcast episode. And it feels good to say that. I feel like I got a little ASMR vibey kind of NPR vibe right now, but that's because the vibes are high. The vibes are high. We're feeling good. It's still a little. I wouldn't say it's early in the morning because it's not. It's definitely not. But it's just start of the day still. And you know what? Decided it's time to talk a little hoops. And it's today, it's me, Zach. I'm back with Dove. Dove,
What's good,
wel-
y'all? How
welcome
we
back to the
doing?
program.
Welcome back.
How are you doing today?
We're doing good, Zach. We're doing good. Glad you asked. How are you?
I, I I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing just stellar. Today, I would say it's a little bit more similar to what we started out with. We're just gonna talk some of the current events around the league, and we're just gonna discuss them. Not really too structured. We're just gonna kind of we got a few topics on our list, and we're just gonna run through them. And I think one of the bigger topics that I don't know, I feel like it kind of went under the radar already. Tyler Hero signed a 4-year, $130 million contract extension with the Miami Heat. Let me tell you, that is not six-man money. That is starter money. And I don't like Heat role players. So I'm pretty well documented on that. I thought the Duncan Robinson thing was an overpay. I thought Tyler Hero is now an overpay. Dove, I mean, like, I'm biased, obviously. Am I tripping with this 4-year 130 being a gross overpay? Even if he is going to start starting, that's like 25% of your cap, though.
If Tyler Hero is your number two option next year, then this makes sense.
But like, I get like you have to spend all your money. Like, it's stupid if you don't spend your money, but like, just because he would be the de facto second option in the offense doesn't mean like he deserves $30 million a year because I don't know if he is a second option anywhere.
I don't disagree with that. I'm honestly still a little reeling from the fact that it was 130. I honestly thought it was 115 up
I
until
think it's
like
like
five
can go
seconds
I
ago.
think it's like 120, but it can go up to 130 with incentives or some shit.
Got it. Okay. Either way, the idea of Tyler Hero being a max contract guy, I agree, doesn't really make sense to me. Um,
I
but
don't know.
realistically, at the end of the day, like you said, you have to spend this money, and it's not like it's gonna go to any of the other players on this team. You already have max contracts in Kyle Lowry, Bam Adebayo, and Jimmy Butler. So it's like,
I don't know. Like I guess Hero's been
I
improving
guess
year after year.
you're gonna give the guy who just got six man of the year the money that's there, but you have a fair point that he doesn't necessarily
Like
outright deserve it.
I feel like there was no rush to give him this contract, like at all.
But this is
Like
kind of
unless you
like the
think
thing to
someone's
do.
leaving. I know, but like Pat Riley has made like he's a very good basketball mind. And
Some
like I'm
people
not gonna
are
push.
saying that
He's on the way out.
he's fading. Some are saying he's fading. Some are saying these are signs that he is fading,
Yeah. I mean, that's what
which
I'm
is
saying. Like if he thinks it's a good idea, might be a good idea. But at the same time, like I'm just not a Tyler Hero guy. I don't love his turnovers. I don't love how much like how much he ball dominates. Like he could, I think if he played off ball, like catch and shoot threes, like catch and cut, shit like that, I think he could flourish. But like he insists on having the ball in his hands. Like he thinks he's the guy. Like I respect the swagger. I respect the cockiness. And that's probably what got him this contract in the end of the day was his confidence. Um, and like his ability to put up a big game every now and then. But like this is an X Factor season. Like we saw with Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson was a good player. Like Duncan Robinson's never getting 130 mil. What do you get? 4-year 100? Does that sound
4 year
five-year 100?
95, something like
Yeah.
that.
He's still got a shit ton of money for shooting a three-pointer. And I hate to break it to you, Duncan Robinson's not going to be in the rotation come opening night. They haven't played a preseason game yet, so I like the preseason usually gives a tell about what
That's a thin
a starting
roster,
lineup.
Shub.
Who you don't think Max Strus is ahead of him on the depth chart?
How many other guys do you have at the guard forward position?
Um, I'll go through it real quick.
Because real while you pull it up, realistically, while we finish off the conversation about the Tyler Hero contract, it's just like I think you give a guy the bag who has shown you that he can be a player who steps up in moments for the team and also can be a secondary ball handler next to a Kyle Lowry, next to a Jimmy Butler, um, play off of Bam Adebayo well. I think that two-man game is really good as well. That's something that can't be, unspoken about, untalked about, whatever. That is that is definitely a large aspect of that team's game is the two-man game, and I think Tyler Hero plays it very well. So that's not something to necessarily bash him about. We're not saying Tyler Hero is a bad player. We're just not sure if Tyler Hero is a $130 million max contract player
I guess
for what
so.
his
Like,
role
I was
is.
kind of thinking like, I guess they don't have PJ Tucker anymore, and they didn't really replace him with anyone for the power forward spot. That's the biggest thing, and the person who's probably going to take that spot is someone who I would have had ahead of him on the depth chart is Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin would have been ahead of him on the depth chart. So you got your starting lineup of um, Lowry, Hero, Jimmy, Caleb Martin, and Bam. And then I think people coming off the bench ahead of him are Max Strus, Victor Oladipo, Gabe Vincent, and Dwayne Dedman. So he could be the 10th man, no doubt about it. But the Heat are also known for being pretty aggressive in buyout markets, trade markets at the trade deadline. They're a very aggressive team if they see a need on their team. I'm not saying like I may have exaggerated a little bit, but I'm really excited to see like their first preseason lineup and see when Duncan comes in, where he comes in, because like obviously preseason's not end all be all, but it like people are playing their starting lineups. If everyone's healthy, they're playing their starting lineups, and the people who come in first are the ones that are going to play integral roles off the bench. And I see four guys coming off the bench before Duncan Robinson will see the floor.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's totally fair. But I mean, realistically, if we're talking, lineups, it's more likely during a game to plug and play Duncan Robinson than it is to plug and play like a Dwayne Dedman.
I mean, well, Dwayne Dedman's just always going to have his minutes. He's going to have the minutes that Bam doesn't play, especially with no PJ Tucker this year.
I'm just more saying,
Like those are just
like
minutes that Duncan can't have.
just a random player that I could think of on the roster. But you know, I'm more thinking in the sense of Duncan Robinson's minutes are going to be dependent on what the team needs. So if the
I
team
mean,
needs 3-point
the
shooting,
biggest, I mean, just the biggest thing is off the bench. Like Strus does what Duncan Robinson does better. Like, and I think you
right? But
can
if
get
if their
by.
starters aren't hitting,
Who's coming in?
that's
Like, but like, think
that's
about
when you
this.
play
But how many
Duncan
start?
Robinson.
You're never benching Jimmy, right?
Right,
You're never benching Bam.
right.
If you need 3-point shooting, Hero can stay in the lineup.
Unless he's shooting like shit, which he's shown us before.
$130 million man. Caleb Martin,
You can bench him.
he's above average 3-point shooter, but I guess if he's not shooting well, I'm throwing in Strus first, and then Lowry. Lowry's the X factor there. Lowry's the guy that I can
Lowry,
see
yeah,
Duncan coming in
Lowry, you
for.
don't expect to shoot well though,
But yeah,
at
like
least now.
and so, see like what you're saying, like like I'm not like saying you're like a Duncan Robinson supporter. Like it doesn't matter. But like this shit you're saying that like, oh, he would play if this happens, if this happens, if this happens, if this happens. You're not saying he's playing every night. And that's the bottom line. that's my point. Like you're
Yeah,
saying, like, oh well, if this happens, he would play. Like, nah,
it's like a
like
once a week type thing.
yeah, like nah, he's not in this rotation in that case. Like, no,
Yeah,
you know. But
that's a fair point. I wasn't really thinking about it like that.
but that's I got to return and throw my Duncan Robinson slander in there. That's just how this works.
Yeah, whenever
It's
we
just
make it around to the Miami Heat, it is
That's
what it
just how
is.
this works. Let's move on a little bit. Let's start talking. Big athletic piece yesterday from Shams. Might have been 2 days ago at this point, but uh, the Lakers and the Pacers seemed like they had a deal in place if both teams were like said accept at the end. That would have been Russell Westbrook and two firsts for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. Maybe there's a little more in there, but like those are the big centerpiece things. And the first thing that jumps off the page to me about that, and you can comment on this also, is that I think Miles Turner and Buddy Hield are probably getting two first round picks from anyone. If anyone's trying to acquire them, I think it requires two first round picks. Um, and I know like these are Lakers picks down the road when LeBron probably wouldn't be there, so you're a little nervous to give them up. But you also get to give up Westbrook. This is you probably are familiar with this stuff just because Detroit, but like Matthew Stafford, when he was traded from Detroit to the Rams, they had the opportunity to get one first round pick for him, like in the current draft. Or what they ended up doing is they traded for two first round picks, but they had to take on the massive contract of Jared Goff. And that's kind of like what the benefit of I see here. If the Lakers did this move, they get rid of Russell Westbrook, but like yeah, they have to give up two first round picks for two guys who just helped the team.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm all with you here. I'm completely confused as to why this trade hasn't happened yet. I feel like talking about that is useless, but talking about the potential of this lineup, like you were saying, um, mm, man, I just don't really understand. First of all, Russell Westbrook in Indiana sounds like a great idea. Uh,
Let him drop a triple double a game again.
like
Let him earn another bag because at
have
this
him
rate he's
come
not
off the
going to.
bench for Tyrese, and you'll be happy. You'll be happy. You'll be I don't know how much money you'd make in ticket sales, but like 25% happier in your ticket sales revenue just from
Probably.
having Russell Westbrook on your floor. Uh, the other thing about this is like for the Lakers, you add probably the most consistent high volume shooter at his age for the last couple of years.
I can't
And
back that
Buddy
up with
Hield.
stats.
This is, yeah, I can't back that up with stats, but I can say that that is very specific, so no one can, come at me for that.
Yeah.
Um, Buddy Hield brings so much to this team in the sense of just his shooting that just allows this team to expand the floor where now you can run AD at the center and you can have LeBron on the power forward or the point guard because there's just not enough spacing with this team as constructed currently. Uh,
Yeah.
I just don't believe there is. And if you add a guy like Miles Turner, whoo, sheesh. The defense
Yeah.
sucks right now. You add in a Miles Turner, and that front court is nasty, absolutely nasty. And AD doesn't have to play center. Oh man, nope, not
I
gonna
mean,
say that.
AD is not playing. AD is not playing center, no matter if they make that trade or not. I am double checking here. Um, but last night the Lakers played. They had their first starting lineup. Their first starting lineup. Dennis Schroeder is still having visa issues, so he did not play. And Lonnie Walker is also out. But I don't think Lonnie Walker's starting. Their starting lineup was Damian Jones at the center, AD at power forward, LeBron at small forward, um, Kendrick Nunn at shooting guard, and Russ at point guard. And Pat Bev came off the bench, obviously.
That team is
So
bottom 10 in defense and offense.
yeah, I mean, you just like swap Russell Westbrook with Pat Bev starting or Schroeder starting. Kendrick Nunn for Buddy Hield, and Miles Turner for Damian Jones, and you're looking at like a playoff, like a conference finals contender. Genuinely. Like it's just a no-brainer move. It's nothing against Westbrook, but like when you have multiple holes on your team and you can fill them for one guy in exchange for one guy who I I still like Westbrook. I think Westbrook's a good player. He just doesn't fit with this team. I think he still can play well. Like with the Wizards, the Wizards may have sucked, but he didn't really have a bad season with them the year before he came to LA last year.
No, not at all. He had a good
Like
season.
he still played really well. I really don't think it's a Russ thing. I think it's just more of a team cohesion thing. It just doesn't work.
Well, you have to build a team around Russ. That's the
I
issue.
mean, well, that wasn't the thing that happened with the Wizards. Like, I mean, I guess like they didn't have team success, but like that was Bradley Beal's team still. You can't say it was. I mean, Beal was probably in and out of the lineup a little bit that year,
Yeah,
but
it was a little in and out.
like he hasn't been consistently in a lineup for 3 years now at this point. But I don't know. I think like I just like it's the first thing I said. Miles Turner and Buddy Hield are worth 2 first round picks. Like if you're
Yeah.
trying to win a championship with LeBron still, it's that is you mortgage your future to win now. That is
The
how it
issue,
works.
the issue though, is Miles Turner and Buddy Hield is not worth 2 first round picks if you're giving up a player of equal value. If you're giving up a player who's a large contract of equal value. And I think that's the issue is the Lakers view Russell Westbrook of equal value. Um,
I
that
get
might
that, but like it's just like that's not the case. It's just not the case. It's nothing against Russ. I think they feel bad for Russ. I think they want to make Russ work. I think they don't want to put Russ on another team 5 years or 4 years for a different contract, like for different teams. Like I just don't think they want to put that in position. They're gonna try and make it work. But my fear is that if they wait too long, like if they didn't make a trade in the offseason, I don't think a team's gonna want to make that trade in the middle of the season if he continues to perform poorly.
don't do it, Detroit. Don't do it, Detroit. Don't
But
don't hold on to your assets for too long
well, I
until
mean,
they're
Well,
just
Russ is
so in
expiring. It's this year or bust. Like.
right, but I
But
mean,
I think as soon as the regular season starts, it doesn't matter.
right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. As soon as the season starts, you can't trade Russell Westbrook.
because if he plays well, you're not trading him. If he plays poorly, you're
You're
not
not
trading him.
trading him.
So there's literally nothing you can do. It's now or never.
Unless a team is willing to give up like a late first for the salary and picks, unless that still, is on the table. Um those 2 picks with Russ. If that's still on the table later in the season, then I could definitely see like I hate to say it. I really hate to say it, but like a Detroit or like a
Uh,
San
yeah, it's
Antonio,
got to be a
some
team
shit
that
like
has the
that.
cap space.
Like
But and I one last thing on this topic that I was gonna say, like I think like Russ still wants to play. Russ wants to be there. Russ wants to be on a contender. Russ wants to get better. Just don't know if it's gonna happen. Like you look at like someone like John Wall, who Russ happened to be traded for. John Wall didn't want to play with the Rockets. Like he ended up wanting to play with the Rockets, like in the middle of last year, and the Rockets were like, no, we don't fuck with you anymore. Like John Wall, like straight up just didn't want to play for them. Russ wants to play, but he wants to play for a contender, and I think he will. Like if he got traded in Indiana, he would play. But like if he gets traded to Detroit at the trade deadline,
he's not
he's not
playing.
he's not playing.
Not only is he not playing, he's probably getting cut.
No, there's zero incentive to doing that.
We're just gonna eat that cap.
He's an expiring contract. Like
Oh my God, you're right. So we just let him walk.
yeah, he just sits on the bench the rest of the season. That's what's going to end up happening with Kemba, but that's a topic for another day. Um, let's talk a little preseason. The preseason's officially back. Um, doesn't mean much. Shouldn't read into it too much. Like teams have been back practicing for like a week. Like these games are strictly conditioning warm ups.
Shouts out ZD.
Shouts out ZD Pistons. Shouts out. We'll talk about the Pistons in a little bit. But the headlines of preseason so far. First of all, the Suns got beat by an Australian professional team. I don't even want to say just beat, like they got beat. And they played all of their dudes. O- Obviously, it's the preseason. Obviously, those dudes didn't play the whole game, and it means a lot more to the Australian team. Like they want to win, like they want to prove, and it you can't read into it much, but like shit's embarrassing. I think that's a sign of what's coming with the Suns.
So would you say you think the Suns are what,
I
a
think,
max
well, no.
45
So
win
like no,
team?
so like here's the thing. Like I think Vegas has the Suns as like over under like 58 and a half or something, like 58 and a half, 60. Like that's a lot of wins. Like that puts them at like top three seed in the West. I think you just knock them down about 5 to 10, and they go down to like 48 and a half. Like still lean the over, but like they go from top three seed to probably like top seven seed, top eight seed. Like just with how good the West is this year and how much DeAndre Ayton makes me nervous about just not wanting to participate. The loss of Jay Crowder, the lack of improvement everywhere. I don't did they who did they sign as their backup center? Because they lost JaVale. Do you know?
Oh man.
Like I'm just saying, I think the Suns were very well equipped to win a championship 2 years ago. And I think they just had to run into a Greek freak. But this isn't nothing. This is like if it's like news or noise, this is news. This is something like it is. They got beat, beat bad.
They still have Bismack Biyombo on the
Oh,
roster.
okay. He's fine, but it's just like with the
CP3,
uncertainty surrounding DeAndre Ayton.
DeAndre
Like
Ayton.
they've had Bismack Biyombo as like their third string center. Like now you're asking him to be the second string center again. It might change things.
Was it true that DeAndre Ayton didn't talk to any of the Suns organization members
I mean,
since
he said he didn't talk to
he was
Monty.
benched?
I don't know how much you can read into it, but he said he didn't talk to Monty about it.
Yeah, okay, that's what I heard. How do you not
Yeah.
talk to your coach after getting after he said, yeah, we had to bench him?
The only rationale I can think of is they're just not friends. So like in the off season, they're not going to
I don't
talk.
give
He's
a
just
fuck
his
if you're
coach.
not
He's just his.
friends. I'm
But
your
like, what are you supposed to
coach.
talk about?
What are we supposed to talk about? How we're gonna move forward as
The coach. The
coach
coach
and
doesn't have
player
to. But like, the
relationship?
coach doesn't have to explain himself. Like,
Now the
it's
coach shouldn't have to explain himself. He should be asking Aiton to explain himself. If he thought that Aiton didn't perform to his standards, then there should be a conversation post
when would
reaction.
that have
No,
happened? When would that have happened
during
though?
the offseason at any point,
I just like I get that, like,
practice
yeah, they should have talked. Practice just started. Like when they media day is the first day of training camp.
anytime, literally anytime. You okay? How about this? How
That's
about
why
this?
people say shit that like catches people off guard. Like when Jason Kidd said Christian Wood's gonna come off the bench, Christian was like, "That's the first I'm hearing of this," because they didn't talk.
Okay, but that's still unusual.
Yeah, it's stupid. Don't get me wrong, but like you got to remember, like a lot of these guys, don't get me wrong, like they should have talked. Like at the end of the day, like job, player, coach is the boss of the player. Coach is in charge of everything. Like the player, like can obviously make initiative, but like they see it as a player coach thing. And like if they're not friends, like they're not going to talk during the off season. I think they probably have talked now after those comments, but like they don't have basketball activities over the summer. Like they just like you have to go out of your way to do it. I'm not saying they shouldn't have, but like uh, DeAndre Ayton's not going to reach out to him. If Monty was not going to step up and do it, then that's on Monty. I'm
Well
just
put.
playing devil's advocate here, but like
Well put. Nah, you actually put it really well. You
that's
made my
just
point.
what it
You
is.
made my
Yeah,
point for me. Thank you.
yeah. Um, Other big news: the returns. of Jamal and Kawhi from their torn ACLs and Ben Simmons from his back and mental health breaks. Um, Transparency, didn't watch the games, just saw some of the highlights on Sports Center and shit. Jamal looked comfortable and like listening or reading the quotes on Twitter from his post game press conferences, like he's just happy to be back. Same with Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. also played last night. Let me tell you, I texted y'all last night. The Nuggets could be scary.
Paragraphs.
One
Paragraphs.
paragraph, one paragraph. It was one long paragraph, and um, I'm just gonna read it real quick. And
Okay, go
you know,
ahead. Go
because no one
ahead. Go
responded.
crazy.
You didn't
Go
respond, so
crazy. Yeah, no, I didn't respond.
and
Go
I
crazy.
said I was hooping last night, so I didn't watch the game. But you know, watching Jamal just drilling threes, looking comfortable, the 2-man game with Jokic. Um, this team needs to be healthy because they have it all. They have the MVP, true number one star,
Talk
Jokic.
your shit.
Uh, Relax.
Oh.
They have a true second star in Jamal Murray. I truly believe he has all-star capabilities. That's all you need from a second star. They have third star potential with Michael Porter Jr., a true offensive minded star who can give you the offense you need. And then round out the starting lineup with two elite defensive options. You got Aaron Gordon who can guard LeBron, those types of guys. He can guard AD if you really need him to. It's not ideal, obviously, but you can. And then KCP,
Quoting me.
I'm not quoting you.
Yes, after
I'm
the Aaron Gordon
absolutely
trade,
not
after
quoting
the Aaron
you.
Gordon trade, we literally argued on this podcast about Aaron Gordon guarding players like LeBron. And I don't think it was us. I think we were arguing with I don't know. We were definitely arguing about
I
this. I'll go back
I
and
did not
listen.
argue
I'll
with
go
you
back and
about
find the
this.
tape. Someone argued with me about Aaron Gordon being able like being
You
the
think argue
defensive
okay.
being like the defensive
You cannot take credit for saying that Aaron Gordon would be a defensive player who
no,
could
he would
guard
be the
players like
defensive
LeBron.
point of attack
Yeah.
for the Denver Nuggets. That's what I was saying, and someone was disagreeing with me. That was it. I thought it
Um
was you. So sorry. I have to always check people, you know.
and then they have KCP also running out the starting lineup, also a great defensive guard option. So like you got your starting lineup, three great offensive guys, two great defensive guys who aren't offensive liabilities. And then Jamal Murray before his torn ACL, I'm not saying like like he's a glove like Kawhi, but like and people hated on it. NBA.com power rankings were rating him like top 5 consistently for defensive player of the year that year before he got hurt. I'm not saying he it was worthy of that, and obviously top 5 is not number one. He wouldn't have won the award. Like that's nothing. That's not insignificant for his defense. Then you look at the bench. You got a dynamic scorer off the bench in Bones. You got Bruce Brown, who's just a complete package. You got vet leadership like Jeff Green. Like, what else do you need? You got guys like Zeke Naji, DeAndre Jordan who could spot in for Jokic when he's tired. You got guys like I mean that's really it off the bench to be honest. Like you got Ish Smith, you got
Did you
another
say
vet
Jermichael Green?
he's not on the team
He's
anymore.
not on the team anymore.
He's a warrior.
It's on me.
Yep. But let me just say, happy to have Murray back. Happy to have Porter Jr. back. And I have high hopes for this team. I know they do too. Like they were just saying, it's great to be back on the court. Michael Porter Jr. is like, I'm gonna take a lot of shots. That's what he said. I have no issue with that. Like, obviously, if there's a better shot, I don't want him taking a stupid shot. But he's like, people got mad at me my rookie year for taking stupid shots, but if I make them, they can't be upset. Pretty much, yeah. He
This
makes
type of
difficult shots.
yeah, that's I was just gonna say that. It's the type of player he is. He's just the type of player that takes and makes difficult shots.
Just can't complain. And then Ben Simmons is back too. I don't know if you did you see the starting lineup that they ran?
I saw the three players. You can say it though.
Okay, it was Ben Simmons at point guard, Kyrie at shooting guard, KD at or Joe Harris at small forward,
That's all I saw.
KD at
Yeah.
power forward, and Nick Claxton at center.
Okay, yeah, that's what I had assumed would be the.
Seth Curry was injured. I don't know if that affects it.
It
Um,
does,
but
in my
that's an
opinion.
insane starting lineup. I get Joe Harris, Kyrie, and KD are above average 3-point shooters that can make up for Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton a little bit, but like Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton will not shoot threes. It's not like that they shoot a poor percentage from threes. They just won't shoot them, which like for floor spacing might prove to be a gigantic issue when you just don't have to guard two players at the 3-point line.
Are you a
But
Ben Simmons at center fan?
I mean like I mean they need a stretch big. Like that's it's
He
probably
would
just
also get killed. He would get killed.
Ben
But
Simmons as center.
yeah, he would get killed. But
Like I have no issue with Ben Simmons playing point guard. That's not my issue with the lineup. It's more that like they insist on
the
having Nick Claxton as
combination
center.
of Nick
And it's nothing
Claxton.
against Claxton. It's just like they can't both be on the floor for the majority of the time.
So who do you put on the floor with him?
I have no idea. The bench is terrible. Like I have no idea what this
That's
team is doing. But
that's
like
what I'm
KD
concerned
is
with
so good.
about this Nets team. Like, are you genuinely are you sold on this team?
I mean, like, yeah, because KD can sell me, but like not as a championship contender. Like they're
Right,
still gonna like
that's what I'm
there's
saying. Sorry.
it's
Are
gonna be
you
the same
sold as
thing
a
like when
championship
Harden was with
contender?
the team and like they would still lose all the time. Like they're gonna lose a lot of games. Like they're gonna win more than they lose. But then when they come to the playoffs, like it's nah, like it doesn't matter. Like they're gonna be a good regular season team still.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be mid as shit this year. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're gonna be
I've
worse
I mean
than
like
people are
it
thinking.
depends what mid is. Like is mid like the definition of mid would be like a 7.5 seed. So like is that mid to you?
What were they last year?
Um, were they were playing, were they not?
They were playing, but I don't remember what. They were seven. Let's say I'm predicting them being like a 9 or a 10. I think the younger teams are going to beat them this year.
Okay. Do you think the Bulls beat them?
That was one thing that I was thinking as I was saying that. Maybe not so much.
What about Toronto?
I think Toronto stays above them.
Okay. I mean, we'll see. And then Kawhi's back. The Clippers started. The Clippers were weird because they bent like they've already this is their second preseason game, and Kawhi and PG and John Wall rested in the first one. So like they've had the luxury of like sending out two different lineups essentially. So it's hard to see what their rotation would be. Um, but John Wall did come off the bench. To be fair, it's also his first basketball game in a long ass time. We'll see what happens. I think it is showing that I mean not Pat Bev, Reggie Jackson will be starting. One of the biggest things that I saw, I mean, I didn't see when the minutes were played, but Luke Kennard did not play a lot of minutes. I don't know if he played a lot of minutes in the first game,
Bum
but
bum bum.
we talked about it. We did the Clippers preview before we took our hiatus, and they have way too much depth. Like way too much. Way too much. Like
So they
you
should
get
do the KD trade.
like they had a starting lineup of Reggie Jackson, Paul George, Kawhi, Nick Batum, and Zubac, which is like easily could be their day one starting five. Um, and then you got Amir Coffey coming off the bench, PJ Boston coming off the bench, Musa Diabate, Norm Powell, John Wall,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Rocco, and Luke Kennard all played minutes. And then you still have got guys like Terrence Mann and Marcus Morris who didn't even play. Like that is I don't want to be it with them. That's way too much to handle. But
Oh, you're not Clip Gang
no,
or
I
Dempang?
am. I just
Okay.
I wouldn't want to be Ty Lue making those lineup decisions.
Yeah, because once you get to the playoffs, the decision between whether you want to play Kawhi at power forward or small forward, I would not want to be the one. I would not want to be the one.
Kawhi's gonna end up playing center. I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you
I could see Kawhi end up playing center.
So
Genuinely.
what
But
is
then you
that?
gotta
What is
go
that lineup? It's Kawhi
um
at center,
Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, um
Norman Powell, Paul
Norman
George,
Powell,
and
Paul George, and
Kawhi.
Kawhi. Yeah.
You're a psychopath.
or Rocco in there for Powell, or not for Powell, for Luke Kennard, and he could be the de
He
facto
could be the de
center.
facto center.
Yeah,
Oh
but like
man.
I don't know. Like I'm just like no diss
Just
on
spitballing
Zubac.
here.
Yeah, but like I think they ran that lineup last time they were healthy in the playoffs. Like Kawhi at
Zubac
center
is a
lineup.
strong 25 minutes per game guy.
Yeah,
You really benefited from an Isaiah Hartenstein last year. I
yeah.
don't know what you
I
guys
think
are
Isaiah
planning on doing
Hartenstein could have
there.
been a starting center this year, but
He
I don't.
really shines as a
I,
back.
I
Wow,
don't
I
know
just turned into okay, we're back. He just turned no, we're back. Nope.
what.
Isaiah Hartenstein shines off the bench in his role as
Yeah.
a playmaking and stretch and
Um.
talented big.
Yeah. Um. Just real quick, Blake Griffin signed with the Celtics. He's
We don't fuck
stepping
with
into the
Blake
Gallo
Griffin.
role. That is Gallo towards ACL. He's not playing. He's not playing if he doesn't have to. Real quick on the Celtics though, Brogdon did come off the bench, so I don't know if I could, after seeing that, I could see Brogdon continuing to come off the bench but getting more minutes than Al. Actually, I want to double check. Brogdon came off the bench with no Rob Will, so I want to
Well, I
double
mean,
check.
yeah, well, because Rob Will was injured.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like, why not just start Al at center and just move like Derek White started at shooting guard. So I don't know if like Brogdon's a good player. He was a 50-40-90 guy. Like
Brogdon
obviously
is
50-40-90 rookie of the year, right?
I think he's gonna end up being the point guard of this team.
Like move Marcus Smart back to shooting guard. I don't like there's that's what I'd do. Al off the bench. He'll, like come on. That's
Yeah.
that's
The
that's what I
lineup
said.
the lineup should be the one that you picked with Brogdon at the point guard, Smart at the shooting guard, and then you can switch Smart with the spot shooter, or even throw Grant Williams if you're crazy, and then
Yeah.
you have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Rob Williams. That
I
that is
will
a
say
great lineup.
like it like I mean Ime is not the coach anymore. Like we're not really here to talk about that, but like he was very comfortable like I mean Robert Williams was definitely injured last year, but like Robert Williams might like got like 12 minutes in some playoff games last year, you know, like it just depends on what's going well for them. Like I think they'll continue to do that. Um Speaking of teams with playoffs rotation issues, Memphis Grizzlies signed Steven Adams to a 2-year, $23 million contract extension. No diss on Steven Adams, one of the best rebounders of the 2010s. Just a good vibes guy, good locker room guy. They benched him in the playoffs. I'm not saying that didn't have more to do with the fact that they were playing the Warriors, but the Warriors were playing Kevon Looney. It's not like he couldn't have played. How the fuck are you signing a guy to a $12 million a year contract extension when you benched him in the playoffs? You can like, is
Hey
there an
man,
answer for that?
big screen assist guy. I don't know. I don't think there's an answer to that. I think there's
Like,
that's a reason as to why you shouldn't sign him to that contract, but I don't necessarily think it's I don't know. I mean, I like Steven Adams so much as a person that I think you give him the money that he's asking for.
I guess, like
like
he'll
I
have
I
he'll
genuinely
you know what it is. He'll have a big enough role in the regular season where like it'll make that contract worth it, even if they bench him in the playoffs.
but even if he
And Jaren
doesn't
Jackson's going to be hurt too,
even
so I
if he
think like this is
doesn't,
just
the
like we
things
trust
he
you.
brings, he's only gonna be bringing in the select time that he was doing it before, anyways. Like it's not like you expect
He's
Steven
still the
Adams to
same
come in
player.
and
Well, that's
be
what I'm
a
saying. Like the value it brings in the regular season will still be enough to make the contract worth it, even if you don't want to play him in the playoffs.
right
And someone who signed is Larry Nance signed like an almost identical contract with the
deflections
Pels.
leader for a period of time.
Yeah,
Shouts out Larry Nance.
it just shows that he's there to be in the rotation. He's not gonna fall out of it. Not that that really was a debate, but like they have a lot of young guys. Maybe someone could have seen him take like taking a step back. No, he is an integral part of that team.
Man, that bench lineup looks so fucking fun right now.
I
Jose
still not.
Alvarado,
I am
Oh,
not
you
sold on the Pelicans.
okay? Well, let me tell you real quick. Jose
You won't
Alvarado,
be able to sell me on them right
Kira
now. It's
Lewis
not because I don't know
Jr.,
what's going on. It's because I know their roster and I'm not
Trey
sold on them.
Murphy, Herb Jones,
I'm not
Larry
sold on
Nance, and
this
Jackson
roster at
Hayes.
all.
That's a crazy bench lineup.
Not
That's a
not in the year
crazy bench lineup.
2022. I'm sorry, not yet. Maybe it will be, but like, or maybe those combination of
Trey
players like
Murphy will surprise you.
down the line, it might be like, wow, I can't believe they had all those guys on their team at one point. But like, I, personally, I am not sold on this team, especially in the Western Conference. Just not yet,
That's fair.
not
I
yet.
think I think they showed you last year though in the playoffs that
Oh
they
yeah,
could put up
they put
quite
up
a
a fight.
fight.
I'm just not sold on them yet. Like,
That's fine.
I don't I like even with the addition of Zion and like
Yeah,
the
with the
extra
addition
experience.
of big body
Uh,
healthy Zion,
but like I still see them being about the same. But having said that, I think this team could be like if the Suns and the Pels played a 4 game series right now, I'm taking the Pels
I'm taking the
or a seven
Pels
game series.
all
Yeah,
day, like I took
yeah.
the Pels last year.
But let's wrap this up. Last two topics. Lonzo Ball. Not really going to talk about this for too long. What a shit show. We saw this coming. I'm pretty sure we both saw this coming. I remember saying at least he's not going to be ready for the start of the regular season. I see him being out for a long time, and then start of media week. Bulls confirm that. I don't think he's going to miss the whole season. That's what Woj is saying. Like he probably won't miss, or Shams, one of them, both of them. He's not. They're not. He's not going to miss the whole season, but it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. I don't know how to explain it. Like he's a good player. It's just the Bulls need him too.
It's an unfortunate series of events that he has little to no control over, and we as fans have had very little communication about. Um,
Yeah,
so it's just kind of frustrating.
I
But
think he needed to get whatever surgery he needed to get immediately, and I think just the rehab without getting the surgery, and then he ended up getting the surgery, and then he needed another surgery because that surgery didn't work as well as they hoped. It's just no bueno. It's no bueno. But Dev, I figured we wrap it up. Pistons open up the preseason tonight. Who do we play? I'm
the
blanking.
Knicks,
Yep, the Knicks. That is correct. Um,
um,
what are we expecting to see? We saw the first scrimmage. Um, and I believe the starters were Bagley, Bojan, Bay, Ivy, Cade.
yeah,
Does that so I think that will probably be the starting lineup tonight, if I had to guess. Um, but I don't know what like
I
what are we
honestly,
thinking here?
I don't
Like
know what to
what do
think
you want to
either.
see tonight?
I want to see. Okay, there's a lot that I want to see. Specifically, like I'm really focused in on having these lineups be not obviously like set because you're not going to have set lineups as such a young team. Um, but I think starting to solidify certain roles. So Killian being the off bench point guard is something that I want to see be solidified. I want to see players like Alec Burks be that secondary ball handler off the bench next to Killian Hayes if he's playing. I want to see Isaiah Stewart be a post playmaker for really whatever lineup that he's in. But it's like there's just certain things I want to see out of certain guys that I've talked about in my TikTok and YouTube series that you can go check out if you want to hear more about the individual players. But realistically, it's just small little effort sides of the ball, especially in players like Killian and Bagley. And with Bagley, he was ran a lot in the PNR last year. I'm curious to see how that gets run if he's in the starting lineup. You put him next to a shooter like Bojan. I don't know, because it's like Bagley's really good in the PNR, but like nothing else in the pick and roll or in the pick and slip and pick and pop. He's just shit. So you add a guy like Bojan, and I guess you know adds a couple different options there as well for Cade and horns and stuff like that. But I don't know. I really don't know
Yeah,
what to
it's one
expect from this
preseason game.
team. It's a preseason game against the fucking Knicks. Like,
Yeah.
hopefully we get to see Cam Reddish play.
I mean, he'll play. Everyone plays in the preseason, but especially the first game. I the thing I want to see tonight is I want to see, if possible, as many combinations of the double big lineup as possible.
Which
Whether
double
that's
big lineup?
at all of them, every
Okay,
combination.
bet.
Like as many. That's why I said as many
Oh
combinations of
wait,
the
do we
double
know
big
if
lineups.
Noel's is playing?
Noel's out, I think.
Okay, so never mind.
But
But
Stu,
still,
Stu and Duran, Stu and Bagley, Bagley and Duran, I want to see how it works with all of them on the field at the same time.
I agree.
Um,
I
or
think
not on the field. I was looking at a football, but on the court.
I
That's what I
just
want to see tonight.
I'm curious what you think about my idea of having Isaiah Stewart be your secondary playmaker in that
I don't
starting lineup.
I don't love it.
You don't love it,
I just like I
like
think
Draymond.
I just don't think that's what he is. I think he's a grit and grind. Like I get Draymond is that, but Draymond was that since college. Like you didn't have to teach Draymond that. You didn't have to develop that. And like
I don't think you have to
Draymond,
teach him anything though.
what has
I think
Stu shown you that from a playmaking perspective thus far though?
I
Like
think he's shown me the
Draymond's had it since he
knowledge.
was 20.
No, but I
Like
think I think Stu has the knowledge, and I think he has some of the ball handling abilities, and
I
he's
also
shown
just
us that
don't
he has
think
the aggressiveness for
I
it.
don't think Stu just it's like Draymond's just a better player. Like, and I don't like Draymond is a very niche thing. Like other teams don't have a Draymond. And I
Okay, so
think if
then
you
how
tried to
else do you?
replicate a Draymond, I don't personally I don't see Stu on the team in 2 years.
Okay, so that's what I was gonna
Like,
ask. Because
yeah.
personally, if he's not that, I don't see him fitting on this team.
Yeah, I don't see him on the team in a couple of years. And I think like it showed that he is not going in the direction of playmaker by the fact that he's just been working on his 3 pointers all summer, which is obviously not what Draymond does, especially or at least not now. And that's never what Draymond was known for. Like
No,
we're
but
like
it definitely.
but he would shoot 2 3 pointers a game. I see Stu shooting 3 to 4.
I
Like
I see Stu this year maybe taking 1.5.
I don't think that I think that's not the plan. We'll see what
It,
happens. I
yeah,
don't
we'll see what happens. We'll see
obviously
what
Stu didn't
happens.
start in the scrimmage. Obviously, that's not everything. And the addition of Bojan really complicates them, which, by the way, great addition.
Yeah,
Love Saban Lee,
let's talk about
but
that real
like
quick.
love Saban Lee, but Bojan's such a good player. He is an underrated player. He doesn't like he's just a good player. He's a good fit.
A
And that's
good
exactly what they needed at
player?
the four. Yeah,
Shoot, a good player. This motherfucker is an 18 point per game
yeah.
scorer
He's a really good
on like
player. I said
40% three
yeah, I
point
said he's a
shooting.
really
This
good
man
player.
is a hooper.
I watch him all the time because he torches Denver. He torches Denver. He was in the Jazz, like he was in the division. He torched Denver every time. He would just go off like 8 of 12 from three for 30 points. Like I know. I will say though, it complicates things for your young bigs. It makes it a lot more crowded, harder to get minutes. And I'll say it again. I just don't think Stu really fits on this team. Nothing against Stu. I think he'll like land on his feet, but like
I genuinely think he
drafting
can fit
Duran
into the
13th,
role that I think.
draft but like what is any indication that they're going to do that? Like
There's
you
none.
might
There's
want
none.
that to
There's
happen.
certain plays.
And
There's certain
like
plays. Okay, there are certain plays that they've run that makes Stu the ball handler or makes Stu into a playmaker for a period of time for a couple, whether it's quick handoff and then he curls around to the rim and then, get, he brings the ball over a quick handoff and then he curls and catches it. Nothing crazy, but you see that he has the mind to go and you know execute a play in which he is one of the ball handlers. And I think that is something that
you're
he
nitpicking.
has the tenacity to do.
You're nitpicking. I mean like
I know I'm nitpicking,
it's
but you
just
have
like
to
also
nitpick
like
to like pull out these specific skills.
Stu isn't good enough everywhere else to like make his value worth it on the court to turn that into that. Like if you're
Where
giving
is
Stu
everywhere else?
if you're giving Stu the ball in those positions, like obviously if he's playmaking, it's one thing, but like just means the ball's in the hands of Cade and Ivy less and Bay less, you know?
No, I think I
Yes.
no no
That's
no no no
statistically
and
how it works.
no, I'm saying yes and no. Sorry. Yes and no. I think my ideal situation is you take the ball out of Ivy and Bay's hands less by doing that, less Cade's. That would be the intent of doing that because I think I
But
would
it's
like
still the
to
same
see.
thing. It's like
No, it's not. I mean, because you're
the
you. I
combination of them
mean,
three is getting the ball less if Isaiah Stewart's getting the ball more. That's numbers.
not if you don't take away Cade's
Dove.
touches.
That you know.
If you
That
keep
then fine.
Cade's touches the
Fine,
same,
fine, fine. Take Kate out of it. You're still taking away your touches in
yes,
Bay
from
and
Ivy
Ivy,
and Bay.
which is
But
I
that's my
disagree with
point.
that. I disagree with that. I think that's
I
stupid.
I don't think it's stupid. I think it could be interesting.
Okay.
I think it could expand. I think honestly, not trying to copy the Warriors because we don't have the same players as the Warriors. We don't even have anything close to what the Warriors had. But I think with the way that Cade plays, you're gonna need another guy to draw some gravity. And I don't
No one's
know
gonna
how
guard
else.
Stu like that. Like
I don't
they're just
disagree,
gonna dare Stu to shoot
but they're gonna
threes
guard
or mid
everyone else
ranges.
like that. They're gonna guard
But
everyone
that
else like
like
that.
I think teams would be very happy just off ball guarding everyone else and um letting Stu shoot mid ranges and threes, just like the Warriors with Draymond.
If that's what ends up happening,
And
I don't
is that
know.
what you end up wanting to happen? The team relying on Stu to make jump shots?
No,
Exactly.
no.
Exactly. And last thing, just on the Pistons, John Hollinger from the Athletic put out an article previewing the Pistons, and I sent it to y'all. I got the comment back from Indy. He kind of agreed with the article a little bit. John Hollinger thinks Cade Cunningham might not be a number one option in this league. He thinks he either might operate better as a two or just doesn't have what it takes to operate as a one. It was a little up to interpretation on that. It's more he just thinks he'd be better as a two. Do you agree with that?
As like the
Thoughts
number
on
two
that?
option.
As a number two option, not a shooting guard.
Yeah, okay. Because he did play
Nothing again,
some guard
nothing
forward and
unrelated to shooting guard.
yeah, okay. Um, I'm not totally against that. I genuinely think scoring wise, if we're talking about scoring, because I'm assuming that's what we're talking about. Um, I think Sadiq Bey has the potential to be the highest scorer on this team. I think Jaden Ivey has the potential to be the highest scorer on this team. I think you could see a situation like we saw with the go to work with the 04 Pistons, where you have guys like Rip.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop you real quick. The '04 Pistons won a championship. This is not the '04 Pistons. I'm just
I'm not
asking
saying it's the
if you
04
I'm
Pistons.
unrelated to Ivy and Bay.
I'm
This is a
drawing
Cade
comparisons
Cunningham
so people
question.
can
But this is a Cade Cunningham question.
okay,
Do you agree with
fine.
his thoughts on that or not? Like, do you think Cade
No,
Cunningham would be
I
better
don't
off as a
agree.
two? That's
I think Cade Cunningham can be a number one option. I think you don't build around any player expecting them to be a number one option though, is really what I was trying to get at before. Sorry, I go on my tangents, but
why I stopped you.
what I was trying to get at is that you don't build around a number one option necessarily only with the intent of building around a number one option, or else you're gonna fail.
You got to build around a combo of guys.
Right. You got to build around
Okay.
a team.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that because I figured it would get you all a little riled up. That'll do it though. That'll do it for today's episode. I don't know when we'll be back. We'll probably do it again somewhat soon, but I mean, Dove is always here. Dove will probably be back somewhere, whether that's TikTok, Twitter, YouTube before me. But as always, keep up with that. TikTok is popping now at Hustle and Hoops. Subscribe to the YouTube Hustle and Hoops, Twitter at Hustle and Hoops, all that good shit. Like, comment, rate, subscribe, 5 stars, all of that. Dove, anything else to add to that?
Nope. Nothing.
Okay, good. I
See
still
y'all.
got it. I still got it.
You
Thanks,
still
y'all.
got
We'll
it.
see y'all next time.